So, will Jaden Daniels be able to do what no other rookie quarterback has done before? Will this finally be the time that Josh Allen defeats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? And has the Super Bowl opportunity window slammed shut on the Lions? We're going to answer those questions and many more as we get you ready for Championship Sunday. The AFC and NFC Championships games less than 48 hours away. We're going to give you a great preview coming up right here on Fantasy Football Fever, which starts any second now. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Friday night, January 24th, 2025. Wherever, whenever, and however you're watching, thanks for making us part of your week. My name, of course, is Tim McClellan. Of course, joined by my two partners in crime, the host of Hooked on Sports, John Flynn. And we have our league commissioner, John Natale. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Yeah, everything's going pretty
We're
good.
doing good. So, how's everything with you this week? What's it cold down there in Texas?
Oh yeah. We're still getting some really cold temperatures. We're actually, last couple of days we've had high in the low 50s, but of course, highs in the low 50s, but our low temperatures were down in the low 20s. So yeah, very cold mornings, but last couple of afternoons have been kind of pleasant, so not too cold up there. So
I mean, historic snows in the deep south. That part of that New Orleans got like 8 inches of snow, which is unheard of in the city. Pretty much shows to show you what life's been like in the deep south in the past few days.
it's been crazy because every time I looked, I'd see like Dallas and Fort Worth getting snow, but over here, about a couple hours away from east of the Dallas Fort Worth area, we have not seen any snow at all. So it's kind of weird. But
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely it's a week that residents in those states they'll never forget.
oh yeah. But anyway, we're here to talk football. We got a great weekend coming up. We got the AFC and NFC championship games coming up. But right now, as Mr. Flynn has just shown us, we did our little divisional round mock draft last week. And looking over the results here, it looks like Natalie ended up as the winner with a total of 127.98 points. Thanks to some big points from Travis Kelsey, Brian Robinson Jr., uh, Josh Allen, James Cook did respectable for him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I should have highlighted Travis Kelsey Green, but Natalia's was the only ones where you had so multiple contributors, six big contributors on the team who overperformed their projections. That of course grabbing Amon St. Brown when he did, uh, getting Travis Kelsey when he did looked smart, and then picking the Eagles defense, which was smart because they came through in the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so well done to Mr. Natali right there. Looks like I came in second place with a score of 114.48. Big numbers from Harrison Butker, the Chiefs defense special teams. Rashad Bateman, he was my dark horse, but I was going to take him. And I knew I had something good with scary Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, well, that was a wild game. Washington, Detroit, 45 points. Washington scored on Detroit. Good gosh.
Wow. That was
It,
unbelievable.
yeah, all of Rashad Bateman's production came on the opening drive. Most of it because he caught the touchdown on the opening drive, and I thought Baltimore was good that so that they're just gonna bully Buffalo the rest of the way on the ground, but they did a great job holding Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in check for the majority of that game.
Oh yeah, and then third place finisher was our man Lucas, aka LC Muscles, with 111.96. Didn't really get much from most of his players, but he did get 35.5 huge points from Jameer Gibbs.
He has a couple of touchdowns and over I think 170 plus all-purpose yards and a couple of TDs. Yeah, I think that'll do it.
Oh yeah. And then coming in fourth is our man Alex Putnam with 106.32. Only real good scores for him was, of course, Saquon Barkley, Sam Laporta, and Tyler Bass.
Yeah, I mean Saquon Barkley, 205 yards rushing and two tutties. With another remarkable day by the Eagles who locked up nearly 300 yards rushing against the Rams. I mean it was a repeat of what it kind of a repeat of what it was earlier in the season when Saquon had 300 all-purpose yards in a Sunday night game at SoFi Stadium, and the reason why I picked the Eagles because I didn't trust the Rams enough to stop the run. So
Right. So Saquon's gonna be having another good one. May have another good one coming up against the Commanders, but of course we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about these games. We had the Chiefs and the okay.
The Houston Texans.
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Texans. I'm totally misorganized right here. Let me just pop my page back up here. Yeah, the Chiefs took on the Texans over at Arrowhead Stadium. Of course, some people might want to call it Taylorhead Stadium. And, and it was the Chiefs taking care of the Texans by a score of 23-14. CJ Stroud led passing with 245 yards. Joe Mixon on the ground had 88 rushing yards. And of course, Travis Kelsey, 117 receiving yards on that game. So once again, Kansas City, 7 straight AFC Championship appearances.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's crazy in this game that the Texans didn't turn the ball over on offense and they outgained Kansas City by over 100 yards, yet they still lost by more than one possession. So which is kind of wild, but the problems with the Texans, there were three things that went wrong. Those two questionable calls because you had the roughing the passer call on a 3rd and 3, and then you had an unnecessary roughness penalty, a helmet to helmet called where it was actually two defenders colliding with each other. Yet the refs called an unnecessary roughness penalty on that. So that was one problem. Number two, the Texans' offensive line gave up 8 sacks, and the Texans had problems on special teams that the Chiefs returned the opening kickoff 75 yards and set them up inside field goal range, and then at the end, the Texans had Kyrie Fairbairn missed an extra point, and then on a field goal attempt to turn the game into a one possession game, the Chiefs blocked that field goal. So there were issues on defense and special teams that hurt the Houston Texans. And we'll get into more about the Texans and the fallout of it in just a little bit.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, 18 carries, 88 yards, one touchdown. Kareem Hunt had 8 rushes for 44 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey, 117 yards with 7 receptions from 8 targets with 1 touchdown. Nico Collins, he had 8 targets, caught 5 passes for 81 yards. And Dalton Schultz caught all 4 of his targets for 63 yards. Xavier Worthy, my man from Texas, 6 targets, 5 receptions for 45 yards. But yeah, those penalties that they called, to me, they were just like absolutely ridiculous.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I mean, now people saying that Patrick Mahomes is now a flopper, kind of like what they do in basketball, you know?
That's LeBron James, basically.
It's but I also think a thing is we're kind of forgetting Andy Reid and all this because over the years Andy Reid's teams have been some of the most disciplined teams in the entire league that they focus on not making the critical mistake of a penalty because that's why in like their last 10 or 11 playoff games um they've been had fewer penalties than the other team.
All right, so with that being said, the Chiefs, as I said, they move on to the AFC Championship game for the 7th year in a row. Meanwhile, the other one of Saturday's games was, of course, the Washington Commanders against the Detroit Lions. This was a knockdown, drag out. It lived up to the hype, but at the end, it was the Commanders who took the victory by a score of 45-31. Big three in that one was Jared Goff with 313 passing yards, Jameer Gibbs 105 rushing yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown with 137 receiving yards. Boy, I'll tell you what, Detroit would not go down without a fight, and I knew they wouldn't.
Yeah, that was some crazy upset. Totally not expect that.
Wow.
I thought Lions minus 8.5 was the best bet of the week. But Jaden Daniels totally outplayed Jared Goff. I mean, 4 turnovers because the 3 interceptions, and I think he lost a fumble too.
Let's see. Jane Daniels, he went 22 of 31 for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson Jr. rushed 15 times for 77 yards and a couple of scores. And Jaden Daniels, he carried the ball 16 times and had 51 yards for his credit there. Look at other receivers. My man, Scary Terry McLaurin, 4 receptions from 6 targets, 87 yards and a touchdown. Zach Ertz, the ageless wonder, got all 5 of his targets for a total of 28 yards, but he did score a touchdown there. Sam Laporta, best tight end in the league, 7 targets, got 6 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown right there. So, wow, this Jaden Daniels, he is destined for greatness.
I mean, Jaded Daniels might legitimately go into next season as the best quarterback in the NFC. In a conference that includes Stafford and Hurts and Dak um and whoever else you name there. Jaded Daniels might be number one in the NFC quarterback rankings going into next season.
If he's not number one, he will definitely be top 3.
Yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely.
And this was a game where there was 1,000 yards of offense between the two teams. The Lions 521 yards of offense. Washington 481.
Wow. Whole lot of offense. Like I said, knockdown, drag out. Commanders go on top. And the Commanders are back into the NFC Championship game for the first time. Wow, it's been a while for them.
Yeah, in 33 years.
33 years. Wow. Amazing. They will be playing against the Philadelphia Eagles because they went into Los Angeles against the Rams and they took care of the Rams by a score of 28-22. The big
I was that
three,
close to having an
Matthews.
upset pick. I was that close.
By the way, the game was in Philly, not LA.
Oh, oh yeah, the game was in Philly. So the big three, Matthew Stafford throwing for 324 yards, Saquon Barkley another huge day, 205 yards rushing, and Puka Nakua Matata, that's my new nickname for him, Nakua Matata, 97 yards receiving there. So it looks like if there was any problems with Jalen Hurts, I guess it really didn't show that much.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, as we said, the Eagles were just going to run the ball down their throats, and the Rams couldn't stop it, and there was nothing they could have done to stop it because Philly's 3 touchdowns all came on touchdown runs of 40+ yards. So, I mean, if you can't stop the run, you're not going to win in the playoffs.
Right. But Jalen Hurts, he threw 15 of 20 for 128 yards, but he got sacked 7 times for a loss of 63 yards. Stafford, he got sacked 5 times and for a total of 33 yards there. Let's see here. Kyron Williams carried the ball 19 yards, got 106 yards rushing out of that. Looking at the receivers, Dallas Goddard for the Eagles had 4 targets, caught them all, 56 yards. Demarcus Robinson had 3 catches on 7 targets for 74 yards. Uh, the touchdown receptions for the Rams was Tyler Higbee, 10 targets, 7 catches for 54 yards. And Colby Parkinson got both of his 2 catches for a total of 9 yards, but he did score that 1 touchdown. So, but yeah, it was once again Saquon Barkley showing this one.
Yeah, most definitely. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Eagles do, and is it going to be is their game plan going to have to change based on the game script? So that the first. But what I'm sensing is that the first half of the NFC Championship game is going to be really, really important for both teams.
Mm-hmm. And then on the Sunday night cap, which was pretty much the game of the weekend, the Buffalo Bills take out the Baltimore Ravens 27-25. Big three was Lamar. Big three was pretty much all Ravens. Lamar Jackson 254 passing yards. Derrick Henry 84 rushing yards. Isaiah Likely 73 receiving yards. But of course, it's all going to come down to that 1 2 point conversion. A 2 point conversion that almost was.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews had his Jackie Smith moment, but I thought the play that lost the game for Baltimore was the fumble. In the was it the fumble in the fourth quarter? So that basically halted a chance for
Yeah.
Baltimore to score, and then Buffalo would cover. That was a great job by who was I think Milano came up with that play. Remember, Milano did not play so they were without their 2 starting linebackers in the regular season clash in Baltimore in Week 4, and both came back. Both were back for this clash, and they made some important plays, and also it was a game where the Ravens were 7 of 10 on third downs. They outgained Buffalo by 143 yards, and it was a game where the Bills won the turnover battle 3-0. So all three of those things had to be in huge favor huge favor for Buffalo in order to win that game and advance. But if the Ravens committed one less turnover, there was a very I believe Baltimore would have won that game. But it kind of stinks because I thought that the opening drive was fantastic, and the drive leading up to that 2 point try I thought was outstanding as well. But that's sometimes the way it goes, and it stinks for Lamar Jackson to lose the way he has. But
No, I can't believe that. I can't believe a Giants fan mentioned Jackie Smith before I did.
see, I when that when I saw that play live, and that was the first thing I said. Jackie Smith.
Yeah, Jackie Smith in that Super Bowl against the Steelers had a surefire touchdown pass from Rodgers stop back, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, but
So, but yeah, Josh Allen and the Bills take care of the Ravens. So, Ravens have to go home for another long winter and spring, all that. While the Bills move on, they will take on the Chiefs. We got everything previewed. We will get you caught up with all that just a little while later. But first, we have some very, very hot topics to discuss. Mostly for head coaching jobs that were taken this past week. In fact, just about, what would you say, about an hour ago or something?
it was about an hour before. It was 1 hour before we started tonight's show.
1 hour before we start tonight's show. I can now say, and I'm not too thrilled about it, the Dallas Cowboys have promoted their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, to head coach.
Mm.
As I said, I'm not really thrilled about it. Jerry just watched all these guys. Ben Johnson, boom. He's now head coach of the Chicago Bears. Defensive coordinator and for the Lions. Uh,
Aaron Glenn.
yes, Aaron Glenn. I knew his name was Aaron. Aaron Glenn. Boom. He's gone to New York to head coach the Jets. Pete Carroll was available. I said was. Nope, no more. He's over in Las Vegas right now. He's head coach of the Raiders.
That news surprised me, and I think the thing with the Raiders is that Mark Davis will let Tom Brady control the Xbox as you will, and pull the levers on hiring Pete Carroll to come out of retirement and be and to coach this team, and to have his friend and buddy John Spytek come over from Tampa to be the general manager, because John Spytek, of course, was a teammate of Tom Brady in Brady's last year at Michigan, and what should I call it? And Spytek's first. So of course, so all those connections are a lot lined up. Of course, Spytek was already with the Tampa organization when Brady went over to New England and Tampa. So Brady already had some of those connections in place prior to that. So that was important there. The So I think it was a really I was pretty surprised about the Raiders and how they conducted things. I think that was very encouraging for the Raiders. Now, back to the other two things you discussed. Ben Johnson going to coach the Chicago Bears. I think that's a tremendous hire. Because Ben Johnson was the most sought after a hot named assistant over the last couple of head coaching cycles, and now he's going to go in Chicago and work and coach up Caleb Williams and bring a lot of energy that the Bears had dearly missed. So that's a really good hire though, but by the Bears. Now they got ownership has to step back and let Ben Johnson cook up a culture because I think learning from Dan Campbell and how he built the culture alongside Brad Holmes. Now he can bring that experience over there.
Okay, so we got Carol in Vegas, Glenn in New York, Johnson over in Chicago. And now let's get your thoughts about Schottenheimer in Dallas.
This is why I thought you were crazy. Why you didn't want Mike McCarthy back? Because I think the thing with the Cowboys. So what was that the last two times that they went into the head coaching carousel? So they made an unserious mockery of the process. The last time they were in it was after 2019 that the Cowboys waited a few days to part ways with Jason Garrett, who, by the way, I believe was in the final year of his contract, and they decided to let him go after 4 or 5 days after the season ended. And then they only interviewed two coaches, Marvin Lewis and Mike McCarthy, and they hired Mike McCarthy to prevent him from going to the Giants, who of course were in a head coaching surge as well, which they landed Joe Judge from the New England Patriots. So now this time, I think they interviewed five coaches, which included Robert Saleh and Leslie Frazier, they were only interviewed to satisfy the Rooney Rule, and then they uh, then they interviewed Kellen Moore, of course, the offensive coordinator um, uh, for the Eagles, former offensive coordinator for Dallas and the Chargers, but he didn't get the job. Um, but it's kind of a mockery of the process, though. In all honesty, if we're being quite frank, and they also interviewed Leslie Frazier as well, but so they interviewed Brian Schottenheimer, Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, and Leslie Frazier. Four coaches they interviewed, up from two, but it's hard to be inspired by this hire for the Dallas Cowboys and the fans and the fans of course that I saw on X leading into the show were not thrilled either.
I see. Oh, this just it. We just got some breaking news right here.
Oh,
Yes. So to replace Brian Schottenheimer for the offensive coordinator position, the Cowboys have hired former Bears head coach Matt Eberflus.
to be the offensive coordinator or the defensive
Off-
coordinator?
Offensive coordinator. Oh,
Hold on, wait.
defense. No, defensive.
So defensive coordinator. Okay, okay.
So
That's a good hire. I like that. I like that a lot. Because Eberflus is much better as a lieutenant rather than a general. He did a great job coaching up that Colts defense. I think it's a good hire by Dallas.
well, I mean, I would hear some news that they let go of Mike Zimmer, but I didn't hear that. So they got Matt Eberflus for next defensive coordinator. So I guess I guess Adam and I have a reason to be happy for one sense that both McCarthy and Zimmer are gone. And I just wanted to bring him in here. I just noticed he was waiting in the green room. So I'm bringing him in here, ladies and gentlemen, my buddy, my good friend, and my partner on the Pain and Game Pick'em Show. The man who represents the gold and the black, the one and only LC Ever Loving Muscles.
What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing good.
Hope you guys are doing good.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're going to talk about some. I'm mainly here just to talk about props. I'm going to be listening to. I know John came on the show and Tiny Tim. We had on the show yesterday, but I've not heard from John yet, so I'm willing to see what he thinks about these games. We did hear from our other fellow horseman who was on the show a few years ago, Yinzer Mack. He actually had his picks posted because him and Alex are facing off in his fantasy football for his pool bracket championship opportunity. So Alex went with Washington, same with Mac, and Mac ended up going to Kansas City, and Alex ended up going with Buffalo. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
All right. We have some people watching here. Daniel Barry. He's been with us all season. Good to see you, Daniel. And of course, hey,
Hey,
who in the world's this guy?
who the world's this guy?
Yeah, that's our big time Dolphin fan right there, Alex Putnam, A Pistol 90. Got the Pain and Game Pick'em show on his end. Going to do a best of show, I think, next week, or kind of
Definitely gotta.
looking back at how we predicted and how it turned out. So, and oh my gosh, haven't heard from this lady in a long time, Brandy. How you doing, girl? Good to see you on here again. Haven't heard from her in a quite a while. She's a good friend of mine. Lives in Oklahoma with her hubby. So so we got here. Dashy had a little something here. Another hot top. Washington Commanders fan decided to dress up the Rocky Balboa statue in Commanders gear. Does anybody know about this one except
I did
Ashley?
hear about this, so
I
Oh my gosh.
so yeah, it's true.
Uh, that could get someone arrested or probably even murdered. Because you know them Philly fans.
Yeah.
But I guess it was better that it was a Commander fan and not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I was, but I mean, I think the last time I was in Philly, because I think the first thing I did after getting to my hostel, was do a run from my hostel to the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum, and so you because up those rocky steps,
Yeah.
so. See, I was doing. I didn't have any like sports gear on anything. Just my athletic wear. So, but it's yeah. So that was the story there. But
Ah. Yeah, good to hear from Brandy. Brandy, I need to get a hold of you after the show. I mean, we've lost connection. I mean, Brandy and I, we've been chatting online for a good part of over 15 years.
Ooh,
I mean,
nice.
probably even more than that.
Mm.
So, I think, no, it had to be, it's more than 50 years because, or maybe I was living in Missouri at the time, and that's when I met her online. Started chatting and talking about her love life, talking about mine, and we've just been friends ever since. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, besties. Well, I guess you could say that. What's it? 20 years? 20 years. Oh my gosh. Has it been that long? Well, Brandy, thanks for thanks for watching here. So I wonder who they're gonna. I wonder who the Cowboys would get for their new offensive coordinator now that Schottenheimer's promoted.
I have no idea, but no, also a name that they thought I thought they were going to interview but didn't. Deion Sanders was someone that they should have interviewed and but didn't. So
Right.
it's talk about the theater of the absurd. Like it was either going to be Kellen Moore or Brian Schottenheimer. That was just how it was going to go, given the power structure of the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. But anyway, there's actually some more news that we need to talk about. Aaron Glenn being the new head coach of the Jets, and I'm not sold on it about it because one thing I found was that in 3 of the 4 years that Aaron Glenn coached the Lions defense, that the Lions registered bottom half defenses in the analytics department. So the one above average year being this past year, but it was a year where his defense gave up 38 points to Washington. Because remember, the other came on a pick six, by Goff. So that was a problem. But I also looked. You know who else registered 4 seasons as defensive coordinator before coaching the Jets, where 3 of the 4 seasons were below average in terms of DVOA. Robert Saleh,
Ah.
who's now back in San Francisco as their defensive coordinator. That hire became official within the last hour or so. So I just think it's gonna be more of the same because no offensive coach wanted the Jets job. Wasn't sold at all about how the Jets conducted the interview process. They were just throwing darts left and right. And look, maybe Aaron Glenn is going to hold feet to the fire of his players, unlike Salah. But until we see who the quarterback is, and until the Jets get a quarterback season that's better than Josh Allen in the division, like how the Jets supposed to be relevant and competing for championships. I just don't get that.
Well,
But I mean, there is also one thing that one big hire that we did not previously discuss prior before, and that was the saga between the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and everything that transpired with Liam Cohen going into the Jaguars and coaching that team. And look, so the Jaguars fired Doug Peterson after the season, but they decided to keep Trent Baalke, and and Trent Baalke has been known to have contentious relationships with his coaches, like going back to his days with San Francisco when he ran Jim Harbaugh out of the building and brought in Jim Tom Sula, then Chip Kelly, then he got fired, and then after that, then in Jacksonville he fired Doug Marrone and then Urban Meyer and then Doug Peterson, and like fans have been clamoring for Trent Baalke to be fired since 2022 when he took Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, which I thought was a wild for first pick to start with, but here's the thing with Bucks offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, and this is an unprecedented situation. So I'm gonna read what happened according to Ari Marioff from My Sports Update. So Liam Cohen was the Jaguars' top target for their head coaching position. The other top target they had was Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson didn't want the Jaguars job because of Trent Baalke. He was set to interview on Wednesday, but then he withdrew his name. So he goes back. So Cohen goes back to Tampa, offered him an extension to become one of the highest paid coordinators in the league, and then the Jaguar, then everyone was barking at Shad Khan for not doing the obvious thing and fired Trent Baalke. So Trent Baalke was fired on Wednesday. The Jags then reached back out to Liam Cohen, asking if he would consider now that Trent Baalke was not in the window and the picture. Cohen hadn't signed his Bucks contract yet, and he started engaging with Jacksonville again. Now, Cohen last night was at the Jaguars facility trying to finalize the deal while Tampa couldn't get in touch with him. But earlier today, Liam Cohen did notify the Bucs that he was taking the Jaguars head coaching job. So Liam Cohen's gonna be the head coach of the Jaguars. I think it's a good hire, and I think and Cohen's being viewed as a savior in Jacksonville for being the trigger that got Trent Baalke fired, and that's that. Meanwhile, the Bucs are going to be looking for their third offensive coordinator in as many years after Dave Canales left to take the Panthers job. Now Liam Cohen leaves after a year to take the Jaguars job. So we're in a situation where where the Bucs are gonna have to find their new offensive coordinator. And as we speak, there are 6 teams that have the offensive coordinator position vacant. The Raiders, the Bears, they're still looking. The Lions need to replace who have to replace Ben Johnson. The Buccaneers, the Seattle Seahawks. And the 6th team that was added to the list today was the Houston Texans, who fired Bobby Slowick after 2 years as the offensive coordinator. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that was kind of a surprise, but I kind of think this is kind of a big indictment on the Shanahan offense, and Steve Spagnuolo has been swarming Shanahan offenses throughout his entire time at Kansas City, whether it was with Miami and Mike McDaniel, because remember the game where they held the Dolphins just 7 points in the playoffs last year. San Francisco in the Super Bowl, Kyle Shanahan running that offense, and then the Texans over the weekend. So Bobby Slowick, who at this time last year was a hot commodity on the head coaching market, is now out of a job and looking for employment. So talk about a turn of events for CJ Stroud of the Texans, but I think D'Amico Ryan's saw that employing a Shanahan offense was just not going to cut it, and so he's going to be making a change. So could the Texans hire Doug Peterson to be the offensive coordinator? We'll definitely see and find out.
Yeah. So a
Eh,
lot's been going on over this past week.
Yeah, and
Oh,
which leaves one head coaching vacancy left, and that's the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints are going to be I think they're down to 3 or 4 names. I think for their head coaching opening. So that I think they're interviewing Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, and they're also looking to schedule an in-person interview with Mike McCarthy on two or next week before they make a coaching decision. So
yeah. So we'll just have to see what happens when New Orleans decides to get their new man there. So I guess with that, I think we have our trivia question. I know I got mine. I know Flynn had one.
yes.
So I guess we can start with Flynn. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, so prior to the season, the Washington Commanders were a 60-1 long shot to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, and so over the last so I look over the last 20 years, it would if Washington were to beat Philly, they would be the longest shot ever to reach the Super Bowl according to preseason odds. So my question is, who currently of the last 20 years of Super Bowl teams, which team had the longest Super Bowl team had the longest odds of getting to the Super Bowl?
Hmm.
2000, either the 2007 Giants or the 2005 Steelers
Yeah.
is my choice. Those are one of my 2 choices.
The first team I thought of was the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so we'll answer those questions. So I'll give you the answer to that later. So, Tim, what's your question?
Okay, my question is, well, it has to do with the NFC Championship game, with the Redskins and the Eagles being division rivals playing in a conference championship game. Who were the last two division rivals to compete in any championship game, AFC or NFC?
Oh, it's easy. The Rams and the 49ers did it a few years ago.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay, and of course our good friend Ashy. Now we know how bad teams have had with the in-house promotions. Name the three in-house promotions that led to being head coaches. I think he had a footnote down here. Yes, the three worst in-house promotions. I could probably name one, but I digress. Now, I mean, I should have asked Ashley, are we talking about the Cowboys themselves, or are we just talking about overall? Because that would be a little bit more interesting. Yeah, it says the three worst in-house promotions that led to assistant coaches, coordinators, or positions coaches, and it's overall. So the three overall worst
I was even
promotions.
think of that.
I got one in mind. I'm thinking about when they promoted. I'm thinking about when the Cowboys promoted Dave Campo from defensive coordinator to head coach. But I don't know about that.
I mean, could he also be talking about Jason Garrett? Because I think Garrett was
Offensive,
offensive coordinator under Wade Phillips, and then when
Mm-hmm.
Phillips got fired, he became the interim head coach, and then the following, then that off season they took the interim tag off, and he became the permanent head coach.
And I remember the last game that Wade Phillips coached. It was a Monday night game. The Cowboys were getting the Cowboys were getting torn up, slash, dash, sliced, shredded. And who was the team that beat them so bad?
The Packers. It was a Sunday night game in Green Bay.
Really, I thought it was a Monday night game against the Giants.
So that Monday night game against the Giants, I think it was either that week or the following week. They had a Sunday night game in Green Bay. I think it was like 45-7, and then Phillips got fired, and then the following week, Jason Garrett beat the Giants at MetLife Stadium, which triggered the start of that 2010 collapse for the Giants.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that Giants game that I'm referring to, that was the game. Now I remember. That was the game where Drew Bledsoe was getting the you know what beat out of him. Drew Bledsoe, Wade Phillips benched him after the first half. And in came a guy from Eastern Illinois University by the name of Tony Romo.
That was 2006.
And as they say, the rest is history. So I'm thinking Campo from DC to HC is one of the worst ones. So anyway, we'll confirm the answers just a little bit later. But right now, we have a little bit of a twist for this week's conference championship games. First, what we're going to do is we're going to give some prop bets according to FanDuel. If you play on FanDuel or Price Picks or anything like that, some of the best picks that you can come up with. So, Flynn, you came up with it. Take it away.
Yeah. So Lucas, you said you saw the list I sent you.
Yep, I did.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is that each of us are going to pick a one singular over under bet, but based upon the numbers I gave you. So what one for passing, one for rushing, and one for receiving.
All right.
So your best over under pick for passing. So we'll go around the table starting with Lucas.
All right. So I'll go ahead and say my favorite one for the passing is going to be over Josh Allen 230.5 passing yards was probably my favorite, and then second would be the Patrick Mahomes under 249 and a half. I think that Josh Allen is a stronger quarterback right now compared to the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City, they probably will be playing from behind, but at the end of the day, the Bills are able to make the plays. They really have not. The other receivers on Kansas City have not proved themselves able to catch the ball in crucial moments. So I like Josh Allen over 230 and a half passing yards and Patrick Mahomes under 249 and a half.
All right, Tim.
Actually, I think I'm going to take Jaden Daniels under 223 and a half, but probably not by much because that Eagles defense is pretty stout right there. And Jalen Hurts 180.5. Um, I think maybe I may go under that one because he'll probably do what he's done for the last few weeks, just hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley and let him run with it.
Yeah, I'm sharing the same brain with you on Jalen Hurts because I think the Eagles have a favorable matchup against Washington when it comes to running the football. Now the Commanders have been talking the talk about getting after Jalen Hurts and stopping Saquon Barkley, but what have we seen the last 2 weeks? Especially against the Rams who couldn't stop the run. That they just kept giving the ball off and you had and they had 3 home runs running the football. So I think you look at Washington's defense, which again has had trouble stopping the run that Washington comes in. I think they're ranked 29th in the NFL against the run during the regular season. So you definitely think that it's there for Philadelphia. Now the X factor could be if it's a game where the Eagles are going to have to throw the ball if they're behind. That'll change things. But I love Jalen Hurts under 180 and a half. My other favorite quarterback prop. I do like Patrick Mahomes under 49 and a half yards. Because I think the key here for Kansas City and Buffalo is that and I think the game is going to be decided between Kansas City's offense and Buffalo's defense. Who gets off the field more on third down and Kansas City because this is something I read which is kind of interesting. So on third and manageable, I consider third and manageable anywhere between a to go distance between 4 and 7 yards. The Kansas City has converted on 57.9% of third downs with a distance between 4 and 7 yards, which ranks first in the NFL. But Buffalo defensively has given up a first down on the same situation 53.9% of the time, which ranks 32nd in the NFL. So Buffalo's third
Wow.
and on third downs between 8 and 13 yards. So Buffalo it gives up first downs 41.7% of the time, which ranks 31st. So this is going to be a game where I feel like it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of short passing and runs, and just doing everything they can to keep Josh Allen off the field. So that was kind of the strategy the Chiefs employed in the Super Bowl last year against the 49ers. So I think in order for them to do that, that's how it's going to go. And I mentioned earlier about Buffalo gave up seven third down conversions against Baltimore on 10 attempts. Well, Kansas City is coming off a game where they were just 4 of 11 on third downs against the Houston Texans, who had one of the better third down defenses in the NFL. So I feel like if Kansas City can control the ball and not make the critical mistake on offense, I like this being a running game and let Andy Reid let Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco cook. So I'm gonna go with that. Tally?
Yeah, I think my over is going to be Josh Allen at the 230. I think he's going to get more than that because I see this game being a slugfest. I could see both the Chiefs and the Bills getting at the mid to the upper end of the 30s point wise. Yeah, Allen's definitely going to need a target, and he's going to do that to no other than kill Shakir. It's his best target by far. I could see Shakir possibly getting a couple touchdown passes, bringing Josh Allen's numbers way up there. And for the ender, I'm saying Jalen Hurts of the Eagles. They're just going to stick with the same thing as last time. They're basically going to run the ball, just give the ball to Barkley, and that's pretty much a wrap there. Hurts has been having trouble throwing the ball lately because Brown and Smith have been held in check, and once again, I think that they're going to be held in check.
All right, so we'll stay with you, Natalie. So what is your best over/under bet for rushing on Championship Sunday?
Rushing, actually, for the over, I'm actually going to take maybe a bit of a hot take, but I'm going to take Brian Robinson Jr. I feel like 37 is a little too low. I mean, granted, he's going to lose touches here and there to Austin Eckler, but Brian Robinson Jr., he's the 1 yard line guy. You're at the goal line, they're going to give him the ball, and he's going to run it in. And for the under, this one is a bit of a tough choice. I'm torn between both of the Kansas City running backs, but I'm going to take Kareem Hunt on the under at 35. Mahomes is not the type to hand off the ball. He's either going to he's either going to throw it or pass it. Kareem Hunt's touches are going to be very, very limited. Pacheco's going to get most of them, if at all. So Hunt with my under, Robinson Jr. with my over.
I mean, I think I don't know if we saw the same game or not, but I think what the Chiefs did is that this season for the Chiefs. So basically, what was about in terms of the running attack was all about trying to find a way to replace Isaiah Pacheco after he went down with that knee injury. I think it was with that injury earlier in the season. And Kareem Hunt has been pretty efficient running the football because he had way more touches than Pacheco. Of course, Kareem Hunt scored that touchdown for the Chiefs in last week's game against the Texans, and Kareem Hunt has been the RB1 for quite some time. Isaiah Pacheco, even in his return, has been pretty inconsistent. So I'm gonna take over 35.5 rushing yards for Kareem Hunt, and then my second favorite over under bet is Jaden Daniels over 54.5. So I think it's going to be a game where Jaden Daniels is going to have to do a lot to carry his team to victory because let's face it, if the teams were the same except the quarterbacks were swapped, you'd be thinking of the Eagles as a 16-point favorite in this game rather than a 6-point favorite. That's how dynamic Jaden Daniels has been. So I think it's going to be a game where Jaden Daniels is going to have to do a lot. And I think if Washington's going to win this game, I think they're going to need Jaden Daniels to do more than just throwing the ball. So I got to go Jaden Daniels over 54.5. Tim?
All righty then. My obvious over would, of course, be Saquon Barkley over 125.5 yards, but I'm actually going to take Josh Allen at 47.5. I'm going to go over because he can not only throw it, he can also run it as well. He's done very good at that. My under, I think I think Natalie said Kareem Hunt. I think I'm going to take him as well. So, yeah, so my over will be Josh Allen, my under will be Kareem Hunt.
All right, Lucas.
My over is actually going to be Josh Allen, actually. I think Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, will be able to run past the Kansas City Chiefs pretty well. And my under would actually be Isaiah Pacheco under 32 and a half. The run game has not been nearly as consistent, and I feel like the Chiefs are in big trouble when it comes to finding a solid run game. No, Pacheco and Hunt have not been able to realistically be that lead back. They've been a running back by committee, but I really haven't seen much that will give me a chance to think that the Chiefs will be able to run on the Bills. I think the Bills are going to run down the Chiefs' throat no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll keep it with you, Lucas. So what is your best over under bet for receiving yards among those I sent you?
All right, so over receiving yards, I'm going to take Terry McLaurin over 63 and a half, I think, because the Eagles will be ahead most of the time. The Washington will look to pass often, and I think Terry McLaurin has been able to get a good chance to prove himself against the Eagles. So I like Terry McLaurin over 63 and a half, and under, I'm going to actually take Travis Kelce under 67 and a half. I have a feeling that Travis Kelce is probably going to get around 63, 64 yards. He'll go slightly under, but I don't think he's going to have a 100-plus yard game like he did against the Texans. I think the Bills will be able to contain him the best they can, but I do not think that he will be able to be able to break out against Buffalo like he's done in the Bears past.
All right, Tim.
All right. Have a look at this. I agree. I agree with Terry McLaurin, 65 over, 63 and a half over, and I kind of agree with Travis Kelsey with the 67.5 under there. But my over for the receivers is going to be Khalil Shakir at 57 and a half. He's been a very, very darn good receiver for Josh Allen and those Bills. I think I'll have make it another game right here. My under, unfortunately, is going to be probably AJ Brown, but I would say probably not by much. If he goes over 50, then I'll be kind of surprised. But 64.5 AJ Brown, I'm going under.
Yeah, so my favorite. So I can't stress enough how much I love Khalil Shakir over 57 and a half. And in the game against Baltimore, he had 7 targets and he caught 6 passes. During the season, he caught 76% of his targets, which is not an easy thing to do. 76 receptions on 100 targets. So the trust between Allen and Shakir has definitely been something that's really been important in Buffalo and in their ability to get to win some close games this season. So I think it's going to be a game where Shakir gets 6 or 7 receptions. I think this is 80 to 90 yards, and I think he catches a touchdown in this game. So I can't stress enough how much I love that. And we talked about the Eagles being able to run the football, so that will not necessitate the need for one Devontae Smith. So I'm gonna go under 48 and a half for Devontae Smith, in
Hmm.
terms of receiving in the game against Washington, because I think once they get into a situation where I think they'll be able to run the football effectively, that's when things come to shove. Now, if it's a different game script than I anticipate seeing, then everything is going to change with that Washington Philly game. And I said at the start of the podcast that the first half of the Washington Philly game is going to be very indicative of how the rest of the game transpires. Natalie?
All right. Yeah, I guess now, yeah, for my under, I'm going to agree with Tim on A.J. Brown. Throughout this whole postseason, he's been held in check, and I think he's going to be held in check again. Wild card weekend round, I think he only had one catch. Divisional round, he had 2 catches. So if everything trends the way it's trending, he's probably only going to get 3 catches. So I don't see him getting much if that pattern continues. He'll probably get like 3 for maybe 50 yards. I think so. He's going to come up a bit short. And for my over, I got an intriguing option here. He's been flying under the radar lately, ever since he came back from injury. Zach Ertz. He's been an intriguing number 2 target for Ian Daniels. If he doesn't give Terry McLaurin the ball, I think he's going to give Zach Ertz the ball. I could see him getting a potential touchdown.
Aha. Interesting.
All right, very well then. So we took care of all of our props this weekend. So now I think we're gonna go pick the games winners and losers. So Tim, we'll start with you. The Philadelphia Eagles are at home, favorite by 6, taking on the Washington Commanders. Tim, take your pick.
Well, this was kind of, both of these games are kind of hard to pick. I kind of analyzed both areas here. Philadelphia, basically, there's a one-man offense with Saquon Barkley. Defense is very stout. But I'm just feeling more mojo for the Washington Commanders and what this kid, Jaden Daniels, has done for this team all season long. I mean, it is just amazing is what he's done. I mean, he's made Terry McLaurin a great receiver here. Brian Robinson Jr., pretty good running back, but they probably won't go to him very much. I think Jaden Daniels might air it out here. And getting back in here. So, after carefully figuring out this thing, I got a feeling, and for those of you who watched the Pain and Game Pick'em show last night, you already have this, but for those of you who had not, I predict this game will go into overtime. And Philadelphia 6-point favorites. Jalen Hurts might be an issue. I don't think Jalen Daniels is an issue at all. So, Flynn, if you would, sound the alarm.
Ooh, well, I wasn't ready for that one.
Right. It will go into overtime. The Commanders will win the toss. They will elect to receive. They'll go down the field and kick the game-winning field goal, sending the Commanders to the Super Bowl. Final score, Commanders 27, Chickens 24. Die, chickens, die.
Also remember the new overtime rule in the playoffs that both teams are guaranteed possession in overtime no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so remember that was the change from that Bills Chiefs game as last year 3 years ago.
Right. So yeah, so I could see the Commanders getting the first field goal, but I could somehow see the defense stopping the Eagles in overtime. So yeah, 27-24, Commanders win in overtime.
All right, Lucas, you picked the game last night as well on Pain and Games. So reveal what you said.
Oh, so I actually am having the Philadelphia Eagles win this game. I had the Eagles winning by a final score of, I think it was 28-23. I just do not think that rookie quarterbacks, they're 0-5 playing in conference championship games, and I don't see anything changing at this point.
All right, the
Hmm.
But I
tally.
still think Jane Daniels will make it close. They'll cover the spread, but I just do not think that the Eagles will be stopped. And the line has been moving in favor of Philly as of recently. They've been moving in big favor of Philly. So
Yeah.
All right, this one was a little bit tough for me to decide. The Eagles haven't really been playing well on offense, except for Barkley. He's been carrying the team on his back. But now they have a real challenge here. The Washington's defense, I think, is better than the Rams. Led by Bobby Wagner. I think he's going to get a couple sacks. I mean, he could potentially get a pick here. I mean, as much as the Eagles are very good at running the ball, you got to pass the ball too. And I don't know if passing, even if they pass the ball really well, Washington, I think, has the better defense, despite what the numbers say. So, with that said, I have an upset special too. I have the Commanders winning this one 28-27.
I mean, so look, I hear your point, Tim. I hear your point, Natalie, but I just think Philly's the better team. Now, look, all the pressure in this game is on Philly. And the last time I said that about any said all the pressure was on Philly for any sport was Game 7 of the NLCS against the Diamondbacks a year and a half ago. Well, it was clear that Philly felt the heat, but I don't think Washington will be able to stop the run. They won't be able to stop Saquon Barkley, and I think this will be a game where it's going to be about the offensive line. Stoutland, you taking over the game in the second half, and it's gonna be a home run hit by Saquon Barkley that'll be the difference in the game. Now, Washington does have the big quarterback advantage in this game, and Washington has been so much better in situational football. So, by even with the Kobe Dean down, it's guys like Jalen Carter, like Zach Bond, like Cooper DeJean. So those type CJ Gardner Johnson, those guys on defense. So led by a tremendous defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, be able be able to win games on defense. You saw you saw how they were able to stop the Rams on that last drive, uh, um, um, to one that decided the game. But I think it's gonna be a close one. But I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win this game 27-23.
So we basically have a split decision. LC and Flynn going with the chickens, while Natalia and myself are going with those commanders. So,
It's, but make no mistake, my rooting interest clearly is with Washington in this game. But I just
Oh,
think
oh
they're
yeah,
a
for
better
sure.
team.
right. I mean, since the three of us are division rivals and we all hate the chickens, so
Yep.
especially LC, because I mean, hell, he's in the same.
It's
There, I mean, the chickens are in the same state as those
it's
Steelers.
in the same state.
Yeah, so he's got an interest in this one as well.
all
So,
right. All right, so the last game is the big one. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes meeting for the ninth time in the last 5 seasons, fourth time in the playoffs, third time at Arrowhead, second time in the AFC Championship game. Chiefs are favored by 1.5 points. Tim, take it back.
well, Josh Allen, he has had a great year. Don't get me wrong. He has been he has been he's been on fire. Of course, Patrick Mahomes, he's Patrick Mahomes. I see. I say Josh Allen. Like I said, he could run it as well as he can throw it. Uh, Mahomes not much of a rusher. The rushing game for the Chiefs. not going to be as good, so he's probably going to air it out just like Allen will. And taking a look here, let me take a look at these comparisons here. Yeah, 3,731 yards for Allen, 39-28 from Mahomes, 28 touchdowns to 6 interceptions for Allen, 26 touchdowns to 11 interceptions from Mahomes. James Cook, Glover, so the analytics say that the Bills have a 54.6% chance of winning this game. This according to ESPN analytics. I've been thinking this over. Patrick Mahomes, of course, wanted to do something that no other team has done before, go to 3 straight Super Bowls. I also believe this game will go into overtime as well.
Oh.
And when it's all said and done, Tyler Bass will redeem himself. The Buffalo Bills will take care of the Chiefs. Give me the Bills over the Chiefs 30-27 in overtime. That means that I see the Commanders and the Bills in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59.
Very nice.
All right, Lucas.
So my my AFC Championship prediction is pretty simple. I think that the Buffalo Bills are clearly the better team, and I just do not think they have a chance to really let up against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the game they've been waiting for so long, and I think that they are going to get the job done and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be the end of the Chiefs dynasty, and I have a feeling that the Buffalo Bills will be the stronger team and end up getting the win. I just do not think Kansas City, their ability to score is going to hurt them here. They have not been able to score for more than they have not scored more than 30 points all year. I mean, no, they actually have not scored 30 points this year. They've literally been one of 3 teams that have not scored 30 this year, along with the Raiders and the Patriots. So I think the lack of ability to score is going to hurt the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Buffalo will dominate them, and I think they will get the job done. My final score is going to be a final of 34-17, giving the Buffalo Bills to win this game convincingly.
All right, Natalie.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I did briefly mention this yesterday when I guest appeared with Tim, Lucas, and Alex. I want to hear your take, Flynn. I thought about this a couple of days ago, and in today's standards, I'm referring to the Chiefs as the evil empire.
I think because I think you're trying to compare and contrast this to the Yankees with the '90s. So am I correct when they won 4 championships in 5
Yes,
years?
that's exactly what I meant when I said in their podcast, and I'm willing to admit that as a Yankee fan.
I think the thing about the Yankees was that they constantly played the game the right way. They didn't beat themselves when they needed big hits from guys like from big names like Bernie Williams or Derek Jeter or in one instance Jeffrey Mayer at one point or Scott Brosius, or another guy like David Justice. Remember that home run he had against Arthur Rhodes in the ALCS? So I mean, it is like to win championships. It takes the entire roster to contribute. And that's been in a way Kansas City throughout the dynasty. That it's been coaching. It's been someone who is one of the best, maybe already a top 2 quarterback all time at his position. But yeah, I mean, do I have a sense of dislike for the Chiefs? No, because it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and sometimes you have to appreciate greatness. So yeah, there is that thing out there, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I kind of thought about it the other day. I'm like, lately, basically Patrick Mahomes is basically Tom Brady reincarnated. He keeps getting all the calls and everything. You touch him slightly, they'll throw a flag. Yeah, Mahomes gets all those calls every time, no matter what. And yeah, it seems everybody loves it. Everybody is gonna want to stick with it. Yeah, the Bills beat the Chiefs previously, but I have a hard time believing that they're going to do it again. I think the refs are going to fix this game once again in favor of them. There's no way I think the refs are going to let it happen twice. Like I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, Lucas brought up a really good point that that the dynasty is done when Travis Kelce retires. I won't say the dynasty is done completely, but I think they're going to be a slightly worse team. They'll probably be like one and done in the playoffs once Kelce goes, but it's going to be a really long time before we see them being like under 500. As long as Kelce is there, I mean, as long as Mahomes is there, I think they're still pretty elite. Maybe not Super Bowl elite when Kelce retires, but still a middle of the road type of team, essentially. But yeah, I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope the Bills take this one. I'm going to be rooting vigorously for the Bills, but I think the refs are going to fix these games again, just like they did with Tom Brady every single year. So with that being said, 37-34 Chiefs.
I think you're trying to make points about the refs, but the Chiefs have a simple business plan. So just win. I think that this I'm just gonna play this as a reminder for you all.
Hello, you play to win the game.
The thing is the Chiefs won some ugly games this year. So like the refs. You think about the game against Cincinnati, they called that pass interference. The no DPI call against Atlanta, and Todd Bowles screwing up the game management and Will Lutz missing that kick and Antonio Pierce botching the end of game plans, but it's a simple thing for the Chiefs, and the simple thing for the Chiefs is control the clock, run long drives, continuously pick up third downs, and do what it can to win games. Now, if Buffalo's going to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, they're going to have to get something related to a +3 turnover margin. But the problem is that Patrick Mahomes is only behind Josh Allen for lowest interception rate. So it's going to be hard pressed for the Bills to get takeaways from on the Chiefs offense. I remember the Chiefs have this circled as well because it had Kansas City won that game in Buffalo. There was a good chance that they would have tried to win that game in Denver as well to go 17-0. But I think the thing is coaching, quarterback, defense, offensive line, all the things I talk about year in and year out. When you're looking at championship teams, now Buffalo's got good ones as well. Their offensive line gave up the fewest sacks in the league. They said they have their group of linebackers back. They played relatively well with Bernard and Matt Milano. But I think the thing is you can't pick against greatness. I refuse to pick against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think they're going to get it done, and I think they're going to execute a game plan to perfection to send the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. Give me the Chiefs to win the game 24-21 over the Bills.
All right. Well,
I also remember, Lucas brought up a good point, I think, in the podcast about the Goodell wanting to generate more revenue. I think Lucas could elaborate more on that.
yeah. Well, I guess that those are our picks. I'm going to tell you what. Any way these games go, they are going to be box office smashes. They're going to be great television. Just a friendly reminder for y'all. The first game on the schedule for Sunday is the Commanders and Eagles. That will be on Fox at 1 Eastern. Oh, uh, no, it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. And then the Bills and the Chiefs. That's going to be on CBS and also streaming on Paramount Plus. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. So make sure you have those have your TVs and all your streaming stuff ready to watch a couple of great games. So before we go off the air, we have to confirm the answers to our trivia questions. The first one was that Dashi had us here the worst in-house promotions from coordinators to head coaches and all that. The only thing I could, like I said, the only one I could think of was when they promoted Dave Campo from defensive coordinator to head coach in Dallas over 20 some years ago.
Or
It's the only thing I could think of.
maybe the Giants are promoting Ben McAdoo.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he was ever an assistant coach, but he probably wasn't. But if he was, the first name that came to my mind was Jeff Saturday. He was awful.
I mean, Ben McAdoo was the offensive coordinator for the Giants for 2 years, the last 2 years under Coughlin, and then he got promoted from OC to head coach. So I think that's kind of what he's asking.
LC?
I'm sorry, what were you guys saying?
John, we're answering Stacy's question here. The worst in-house promotions.
Oh, I honestly don't really have an answer for it. I really can't give you guys a sure answer for it.
Okay,
I haven't thought of that, to be honest with you.
Okay, so I guess while Dashi is going to type in the answer to that question, we'll go ahead and answer Flynn's question. The biggest long shot to win the Super Bowl.
Or it's the biggest long shot to reach the Super Bowl from a conference in the last 20 years.
Ah.
That's right. I remember that. I ended up picking the Steelers in 2005 and the Giants in 2007.
I was saying.
Yeah, I had 07 Giants in my mind too, because I think they were the only six-seeded team, or sorry, the only 9-7 team in NFL history to win a Super Bowl.
Remember, we're talking about preseason before the NFL season started in September.
I get that part. I was thinking, true, but I'm thinking about their record. Like the Giants were the only 9-7 team to ever do it, so that's what sticks out to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Giants because I think I remember that year. The Giants in the first week they took down the Cowboys, and then the second week I think they took down the Packers. So my answer is the New York Football Giants.
So you're going with the 07 Giants?
I think that was the 07 Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Natalia, what are you going? You're going with the same?
Yeah, same thing. Whichever was the 9-7 Giants to win the Super Bowl, I'm going with that one.
So you're going with the 2011 Giants? That was
okay. Yes, 2011 Giants.
And what's the one Lucas came up with?
I went to 2005 Steelers.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know that the 2005 Steelers, before the season started, so they were plus 600 to win. So I guess remember that was the year where they went 15-1 before they lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Nope, that's not them. For the 07 Giants, they were plus 1,200. So that's incorrect. And the 2011 Giants were 10-1 plus 1,000. So the correct answer is the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals at plus 5,000.
Oh, wow! I think Dashi would probably remember that since he's a big Bengal fan.
Because remember the year before was Joe Burrow's rookie season, and he tore his ACL, and there were concerns about him coming back to form with that bad offensive line, and not knowing what you were going to get out of Jamar Chase. So well, since the Rams have through the AFC North won the division, they were the fourth. I think they were the fourth seed, and then they beat the Raiders, Tennessee, and Kansas City on their way to the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
So
it was the
it's
Bengals.
the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay, so Dashy has the answer to his question. The three in-house, worst house. I was right about that. I was right about Campo, John North in New Orleans, and Romeo Crennel in Kansas City. How could I forget him?
So, what was John North the one that replaced Ditka in New Orleans, or was it? Or I'm thinking of someone else.
I would not be sure. Dashy will probably have to answer that.
So, when the Saints went to the playoffs in 2000 and they beat the greatest show on turf in the playoffs. So, who was the coach?
The coach of the Saints.
In 2000.
Okay.
They had not won a playoff game in their history until they beat the Rams in the wild card game in 2000 in the Superdome.
It was Jim Haslett.
Oh, Jim Haslett.
Jimmy
Okay.
Haslam.
Yeah, Jim Haslett. He was the head coach back then. 2000 to 2005.
So I think the Saints. He was the Saints coach from 73 to 75, 1973.
Actually, Flynn, John North replaced J.D. Roberts. J.D. Roberts.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so now my question, of course, was who was the last pair of division rivals to play in a championship game?
That has to be the 2000 the Rams and 49ers in 2020.
Oh yeah, that was very recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I kind of figured this question would be too easy for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. It was easy.
Yeah. Now let's do the last AFC Championship game between division rivals.
That was the Steelers Ravens in 2008.
Yep. That
Steelers Ravens.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that each of the last 14 AFC Championship games has featured Brady and the Patriots or Mahomes and the Chiefs? The Jets Steelers 2010 AFC Championship game was the last one to feature neither the Patriots or the Chiefs.
Wow. So we had Tom Brady, and now it seems like we've got Tom Brady 2.0 now. So. But anyway, on that happy note, we'll just go ahead and bring this show to a close. It's been a very interesting show.
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining, very interesting prop picks that we had here. These are two great games. Not gonna miss them. Well, I'll probably catch. I'll be at work on Sunday, but I'll be able to catch probably the latter part of the first game. Then I'll definitely catch the second game. So get ready for that. I was thinking, Flynn, Natalie, next week, we kind of take a look back at how we thought the teams were going to finish this year as compared to how they did finish this year. So to see who the real Einsteins were this season.
I mean, that sounds fine to me. We can look back and maybe do some fantasy awards and look back on the season.
Right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And of course, meanwhile, don't forget Wednesday nights it's the Panic Game Pick'em show on the A Pills 90 channel with me, Alex, and of course this man right here, LC Muscles.
Yes,
So,
sir. Still here.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out.
Absolutely. Check us out, guys.
Yeah, playing the game.
So what are you guys doing next week? Because it's Pro Bowl weekend next
We're
week.
going to be doing highlights and we're going to be doing reviews from our preseason predictions.
Mm.
Yeah.
So kind of like what we're doing next week. Is that
A little
that's
bit.
where we're gonna go?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Hooked on Sports with John Flynn.
So I published an episode yesterday, and it was about the head coaching carousel, and of course the Hall of Fame announcement, and the Dodgers loading up, and of course Ohio State beating Notre Dame in the national championship game. I kind of figured that Ohio State was going to win, honestly, but um, yeah. And then I'll probably record my championship Sunday episode. Right. I think I'm planning to record it right after we get off here. So I have my stuff ready to go there. For championship Sunday. My personal favorite weekend of the NFL season is championship Sunday.
All right. Well, it's coming up. We're less than 48 hours away, folks. So hope you enjoy all the games and hope you have all the fun. Getting closer and closer to Super Bowl 59 over in the Big Easy, New Orleans. So we'll just go ahead and put a bow on this package right here. Thanks for joining us. For LC Muscles, for John Natale, for John Flynn, my name is Tim McClellan. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport. See